Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Hey sports fans, are you ready for an exhilarating gaming experience? Introducing VIPclub.lv, your ultimate online sportsbook and casino. VIPclub.lv offers a vast selection of sports, from football and basketball to tennis and baseball. Bet on your favorite teams and enjoy the thrill of the game. But that's not all. Our state-of-the-art online casino offers a dazzling array of games, including slots, blackjack, roulette, and live dealer tables. Win big with their fantastic promotions, rewards, and exclusive offers. Join VIPclub.lv today and get a generous 200% match welcome bonus to start your winning streak. And make sure to use code ECSI at sign-up. Bet it, win it, and cash it at VIPclub.lv. Visit VIPclub.lv now and play responsibly. VIPclub.lv, your sportsbook and casino extravaganza. Must be 21 or older to play. Please gamble responsibly. Visit gambleware.org for help.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your Midday Market Report for Thursday, June 15, 2023. Shout out to our new sponsor, VIP Club.lv, and I just got an update. Sign up bonus up to $200 free, no deposit required. One time only, valid only for verified accounts. Claim your bonus on our cashiers section. Rollovers do apply. Shout out to the men behind the glass today. Ben Cohen, Cade Horton, and Joseph Shea. Thank you guys so much. We're live in LA. Well, I'm on the Cape. My true friend and colleague, Mr. Pop Dibiase, is live in LA. We're going to talk some sports. We're going to see what's going on in the LA market, a little Dodgers, a little football, maybe a little boxing, talk about maybe a little Belmont and history being made. So a lot to catch up to. But the true OG of gambling Twitter, we were way back. And now there's a bazillion other people that are just trying to emulate. You can't emulate. You can try. And what is it, flattery? People copying us is a sign of flattery or something like that. I don't know. But without further ado, let's bring him in. The true OG, the one and only Mr. Pop Dibiase. Afternoon, Pops.
What's going on, Jeff? Always a pleasure to be here, man. I'm glad to be here. What's up?
A shout out to our good buddy Connor. A nice afternoon.
Connor is the best, man.
Oh, I love Connor to death. And I got to say this, Pops. We sent out some U.S. Open pre-flop outright potential winners. We did some first-round leaders as well. And there's 156 golfers. So we just sprinkled in a handful of the pre-flop and the first-round leaders. And listen, if I had tomorrow's newspaper when it comes to some of this, I still can't win. But I have to say to all the ECSI VIPs, if you sprinkled a little something on Team Puma, Mr. Ricky Fowler, plus 5,500 on DraftKings, is now tied for the lead at -4. A lot of golf to go. It's on the left coast. It's your time. So we're going to have golf prime time back east. But Pops, how's it going in your world?
It's just as they like to say, another day that we here is the blessing. You know what I mean? So that's what it's all about. You can't be you can't be frowning too much if you're still on this earth. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. It's a little bit of a subdued week for me as well, too. What's coming up this weekend and everything like that. Hopefully Jeff gets all the gifts in the world from his daughters and his wife and all the people who feel like Jeff is their daddy. all you people that be going to Jeff for all that advice and all that stuff, and you young, you better get Jeff some get Jeff some love on Sunday, man. This man does a lot for a lot of people. So make sure you do more than just say Happy Father's Day to Jeff if you are related to him. And make sure you guys get that clip so Jeff's daughters and his wife can see that.
Well, the funny thing is I was on Facebook earlier before we went live, and there was a 4-year picture on my timeline. It was from Father's Day. It was a big tomahawk steak with some shrimp. We were getting ready for the grill, and I sent it to my girls and stuff. I don't know what's going to happen this Father's Day with one of my oldest now living in South Boston, and my youngest is working in the afternoon. So, we were unable to do a lot on Mother's Day because the wife works at the yacht club as well. So she was working all weekend and Sunday. So I basically said, I'm not starting World War II here. If something happens, it happens. We used to go to New Seabury at the Raw Bar for big lobster rolls and steamers. Well, it's now $50 a lobster roll. They outpriced themselves. We do the local car show, which is great. And we usually go to a Cape League baseball game. But again, as you said, as long as I wake up in the morning, my feet hit the ground, we got 24 hours to make a difference. So that's all that really matters, Pops.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Saturday, the Belmont, history was made. And I keep watching the trainer. I watched the emotions as the race is going, and it's getting closer and closer. And then as the horse crosses the finish line, the collapse, she went down for a second. It just, all your work, all your efforts, no one doubted you. And she said it best, and I'm going to mess up the quote. If they don't have a seat for you at the table, just build your own table. And that's what she did.
And I think that was a good analogy for a lot of people. You know what I mean? Even in the businesses that we had to talk about this just a moment ago, Jeff, where, we've sat here. Jeff knows that Jeff started his shows like a few years back, in recent time. But I've been doing this since 2015. Sports betting wasn't even legal, but in Vegas and Delaware. And it wasn't the most popular thing on the internet. It was actually kind of laughed at. You know what I mean? Like, you really think that you can make a fortune betting games? You really think you can have clients that you can sell plays to? All that stuff. And, there was a lot of time that we put in on this. And then, sports betting becomes legal. Then everybody and their mama got a podcast to show. ESPN, FS1 have made afternoon shows about it, and they bring out the prettiest people possible that have never really dealt with sports betting like that, but they go and talk to people like me and Jeff to really get the insight on how to do it. You know what I mean? And that's how the game pretty much works and things like that. But that means that you don't stop doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you keep moving those feet forward because you know what the real game plan is on this situation. They're still trying to figure it out. And so as you keep going and moving on with this type of stuff, if you were one of the first people doing it, then don't stop doing it because you've already pretty much evolved with the game. So, just anything in life, I would say, you got to if you was there in the beginning, don't get sidetracked if you're not chosen. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you still in control of what you got going. A lot of people who are in these businesses and who are on these shows and all this good stuff, it's always a day-to-day situation with them. If you guys can look up right now, The Athletic was the newest kid, hottest kid on the block. They firing everybody right now because it just didn't work. Because you can't keep going and getting all the has-beens and all the egotists and think that they're going to be good writers for your platform or be good content creators for your platform. They got fired from where they were at for a reason. So, and a lot of those people were the people that you're trying to remove from sports as well, too, because they have a toxic behavior. And so Athletic kind of, caught the wits into that because they were going off of names and things of that nature. So, it happens, but it's always a blessing to be right here with this platform. I really did. People have to understand. I really did go out of a very good, successful corporate life to just go ahead and do this full on 24/7, 365. You know what I mean? Because I saw it, Jeff. You know what I mean? I saw what the future was, what was coming with the future. And man, I'm from the good old fun days on Twitter where it was really about how it wasn't about being the most popular. It was about putting out winners. And if you put out winners, everybody respected it. But if you up in here, but now we got people who want whole parades when they hit a plus 120. And it don't work like that. Plus 120 ain't not, as me and Jeff used to always like to say, a plus 120 ain't shit at the track. A 5-1 ain't shit at the track. You know what I mean? So, if you think with the track mentality, you'll be good. But when it comes to the Belmont race, that was the right winner. You needed to have her win the Belmont because she's the type of person that is not a usual suspect. If it would have been Pletcher with Forte, it would have been a lot of backlash. It would have been Baffert with National Treasure. Oh God, we don't even start. They had to run up on one of these Twitter finger critics at the Belmont and let him know that he needed to shut his mouth or he was about to get sued. So that's the thin line that a lot of people on Twitter are crossing right now. You can't keep speaking on these people and act like they don't see what you're talking about. And, you just can't be putting people's business out there if you don't have no real facts to that business. So y'all got to watch what you're saying. So pretty much I would say this for those individuals that got a lot to say about Bob Baffert, I suggest don't come to the Breeders' Cup, bro, because literally he will have security run you up out of there. And it's not the little fat old guy. It's not the old men security either, Jeff. It's the real ninjas, as I like to say. You know what I mean? But all in all, the Belmont, that was special because this was a Triple Crown that they wanted to make a lot of controversy of it. Every race they were worried about the horses that died. They weren't even worried about the horses that actually were running and winning and doing all that stuff. Their whole idea was, let's count how many died today on the track. And this is why it's tough when you start bringing in the mainstream media into horse racing, a sport that they're trying to kill at the same time. Because literally when you bring in the national media, they're literally looking for every negative that goes on in horse racing. When you used to watch a horse racing program 30 years ago, it used to just be about the horses and the race and the moment and the tradition and all that good stuff. Now it's all about the scandal and the trainer, and the human element wasn't even talked about. They would have a great story about the horse and its mother, who was a great horse, and its father, who was a great horse, and all that good stuff. And you know how they never knew each other, but they're still all the same people. They used to literally cover every single horse in the Kentucky Derby, Jeff. It used to be like a Super Bowl broadcast, for each race. Okay, we'll talk about Sea Hero, and we'll talk about this horse, and we'll talk about that horse. So then you can get an idea of what you're watching. You know what I mean? And I thought that was absolutely incredible. They were always educating everybody on how to watch horse races. Nowadays, all they do is really just bring up Bob Baffert got suspended. Todd Pletcher is a horse got popped with this HGH and blah, 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 blah. They just suspended 4 trainers. The human element is too far into it, but that's because those guys are the money guys. They make the money and they make the track go round and round. But it really is a team effort, a family effort. And a lot of the smaller barns are starting to get really phased out. And that's not good for the game at all. You need the trainer like Eddie Truman, who has 10 or 15 horses. You know what I mean? Neil Drysdale, 20 horses or so. And you got pretty much the same owner that buys those horses. You know what I mean? And, you guys are claiming and trading and doing all that stuff that you got to do to keep the game going. When we watch all these big fun races, they're great. But the races that really make horse racing still go around are those smaller races, the claiming races, the maiden claimers, the maiden special weights, all that stuff. That's what keeps the track open. These big days, special days, that just brings in, the normals, as they like to say in sports, the casuals. You know what I mean? But in horse racing, I think we're all casuals because we don't know what the outcome of the race is going to be. We can sit up there and study as much as we want to, Jeff, and come out with 9 losers. You know what I mean? I know because I've had days like that. So pretty much horse racing needs great stories like First Strike last year in the Kentucky Derby at 50-1 coming out the 21 hole. You know what I mean? That's perfect because these aren't the run-of-the-mill trainers. And then when you get this lady who they already don't really respect the ladies as is in the business because they look at it as almost as charity. Okay, let her just come in here because they like horses too. We know women love horses as well too. Let's let her think she knows what she's doing. You know what I mean? And then she does know what she's doing because she understands the horse. And those are the best trainers, in my opinion. The trainers that everybody gravitates to and wants to talk about, they lost that spirit of knowing the horses a long time ago. What they know is money. And whatever owner has the most money, that's who they care about the most. I hate to see when you got 3. This is one thing I said, and I'm going to end it with this. I said, if I'm ever whenever I become a horse owner, because I do plan on being a horse owner eventually, if I ever have a top horse that's in a big race and I got a top trainer and he has 2 other horses in that race, I'll fire that trainer right after the race. Why? Because my horse is not a priority to you. Everybody else's horse is priority to you. You chasing the money. So whoever is handing you the most money, you'll go ahead and throw that horse in the race. You know what I mean? Whoever requests to throw the horse in the race. Nah, give me Jenna, somebody like that. Give me, a Peter Urton, give me those type of trainers that I know they really like the horse and they really gonna advise to me what to do and do with the horse and things of that nature. That's the thing about horse racing. When you have a great horse, you got to make sure that you have the right trainer for that horse. And you got to make sure you got everything in place as well, too. You know what I mean? And, you want your horse to have the most attention. You want your horse to be the most ready. He got 3 other horses. He worried about the other 2 at practice, too. He can't just worry about your horse. So it makes it to where you really there for the horse. And it's just the trainer's name on the program. And that's not fair to, somebody who has who has a lot invested in these horses. And that's one thing that's just kind of kills me, that we got trainers that just you got all the top horses to where you fill in the whole condition. Look at Chad Brown in New York. He'll fill a condition with 4 out of 6 of his horses in a race. How's he going to lose? And why do we keep saying he's one of the better dudes? You have an advantage. You got 4 horses to sit to 2 other horses. Of course, you're gonna be the best trainer. It's not about you being a skillful trainer. It's about the numbers you bring to the table. And I think that a lot of people just really got to understand that horse racing is really in a place right now where they don't want it to exist in the next 20 years. It's just really that simple. And keep it real, Jeff. Them racetracks are as big as football stadiums. That's a lot of land for people to live on. That's a lot of land for people to go ahead and watch a movie and do recreational stuff at. Think about that part.
I hear you. Talk out west. Denver, of course, NBA champs, the Joker. Great story. I talked all playoffs, as you could see, they were leaning towards the West champs and then getting to the finals against Miami, not the Celtics. Patrick Mahomes versus Jalen Hurts. Jalen wins the regular season MVP, and Pat says, just hold on to it. I'm going to get the real MVP. Same thing happened to Joker. This year, they decided to go to Embiid over Joker, and Joker's like, okay, Embiid, you can hold on to that one. I'm going to get the real one. Talk about Denver, the finals, kind of 4-1 gentleman sweep, and what the West looks like moving forward, especially being, yourself and a Laker fan.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna keep it real with you. I know this is not a popular say, but I'm gonna keep it real with you. I think that it's really messed up that Kendrick Perkins ruined Embiid's MVP this year. Because I don't care. He deserved to be the MVP. Yes, Jokic was great. He was really good. But Embiid was dominant. he was really dominant, and you could see that in every game that he played in. Jokic was really good at table setting, in my opinion. He's he reminded me of a bigger version of Steve Nash. You know what I mean, Jeff? And that's why it seems like it was always so good what he did. But they gave him 2 MVP awards when he was not the most dominant player in the league, where he was the best statistical player in the league. And they looked at it the right way this year on who really goes into a game and dominates guys and really is a real mismatch. And I think that Embiid is a little bit more of a mismatch than Joker is, because Joker's a little slow. You know what I mean? And he's getting off the old school, park game in a sense, rec game, where you move your feet the right way and you play to the fundamentals so well. You know what I mean? Like Tim Duncan, you play to the fundamentals so well. None of this stuff is flashy or fancy. So let's not discredit Embiid winning the MVP. That's just blasphemy, because if Embiid plays Jokic in the finals, I hate to tell you guys this, Philly wins the final, because they had a better team than Denver when you really look at it. Just match them up. If MPJ was playing the way that he played against Philly, that he played against Miami, they would have been in trouble. And they would have figured out a way to keep Aaron Gordon in check as well, too. You know what I mean? Only thing that would have been the difference, which was the difference in the Miami series, was Jamal Murray. I feel like Jamal Murray needs to get way more props in this situation than Jokic, because Jokic has been there. Jokic couldn't lead them to anything without Jamal Murray there. When it comes to who's leading the team out there and getting them where they need to go to, it's Jamal Murray. Jokic does a great job of doing his job. That he does his job to the extreme. So him winning the finals MVP was awesome. But I felt like he needed to share it with Murray, because after they did that 30-30 triple-double job, that was absurd. That was absolutely incredible. You know what I mean? And I felt like, they said, okay, it doesn't matter who's going to be the man tonight. We're just trying to get the victory. And I think that I would have loved to see him split the MVP, because I felt like this was really the first 2-man job that we've seen in an NBA Finals since Kobe and Shaq. You know what I mean? And then they had the right teammates. Guys knew how to play their position. And like I keep saying, I got laughed at the other day, but this is how much people don't understand the dynamics of hoop, Jeff, and the chemistry part of hoops. When you win a championship, you always need a guy that's been there. And KCP was that guy. KCP's off of a recent championship. KCP won the toughest championship of all time. You can call it Mickey Mouse all you want to. But when you're in those circumstances and in that type of position and you win a championship like that, it's tougher than playing a 4-7 game series. And we all know that. Okay, because you're playing in the same gym. You don't have any fan help or anything like that influences the refs. So he took that time of his career and playing with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and he was able to give the wisdom to Murray and Jokic, you know what I mean, and show those guys what it takes to get a championship. For the Lakers, when they were getting their three-peat, Jeff, it was Ron Harper in the first season. When you're I'm trying to think when your Celtics won their last championship, who was the guy that had won championships before and came to you guys and pretty much was the dog whisperer of how we gonna do this thing? You know what I mean? So that was Sam Cassell. You know what I mean? And a lot of people forget about Sam Cassell being on that Celtics team, but he was very vital to what they did moving forward. So, you had to have these guys that have been there before. And that was helpful for Denver. They didn't have all that when they played the Lakers in 2020. They didn't have all that when they played Phoenix in 2021. They were a team that was just, really good. You know what I mean? And trying to figure out. They had a lot of talent, but they just didn't know how to really get over the hump. They were more about just, okay, we're out here. We're playing pretty good basketball, and we're surviving. You know what I mean? And it looks good. But we're not there yet, but they got KCP. He told them exactly what they were and what they can be. And I always knew that Denver was a championship type team if they just settled down and just kept playing the way that they played. Denver won this title simply because they didn't quit on their coach. and they didn't quit on their coach's mentality. They were patient with everything that came along because they understood what type of franchise they are. They ain't the Lakers. They ain't the Celtics. They don't need to chase it. They don't have the ring or bust mentality. They have to build a team to get to one final. And, they just said, you know what? We're going to take an old NBA mentality. We're not mad at our coach. We're not mad at most of the roster. We came close, but we playing a tough conference. And they realized that pretty early. But they knew that they had the weaponry to have their moment. And their moment is now. You know what I mean? I don't see them repeating, but they made it their moment this season. They made it to being a low controversy team. That was important to this championship as well. And they stayed consistent. They were the only team in the NBA that didn't have a 5-game losing streak or better this year. They would lose 2 or 3 in a row, and then they would snap out of it. You know what I mean? And that's what was good about Denver. Denver did not get complacent. When they did get complacent, they were like, okay, how do we fix this? Okay, this is how we fix it. And they were able to get to that. That comes down to great chemistry, and that comes down to people who enjoy playing with each other. And that's so important. It's so key to the NBA nowadays because regardless, they won't say it to the media because they don't want them all up in their business. But about 70% of the teams, most of those guys hate playing with each other. And especially if you're a bad team in the NBA. It's not going to come out and they're not going to make it a big story. But if you understand basketball and you've been watching basketball for more than 20 years, you know when teams like each other, you know when teams don't like each other. I'll give you 5 teams where they absolutely despise each other. The Charlotte Hornets, that's one. You have, who else, Jeff? I would say, believe it or not, this sounds pretty crazy, but the Clippers. I know that the Clippers just, if I'm on the Clippers, I can't stand Kawhi and PG-13 because you guys are never, what are you doing not to be healthy? You know what I mean? Okay, who's another team where guys really don't like playing with each other? Dallas. Okay. And that's crazy because you got Mark Cuban as well. And definitely New Orleans because Zion won't show up. He's too busy doing other stuff. And then we'll end it all with this. The Memphis Grizzlies. Because you could tell they don't like playing with each other because everybody made sure to step it up when Ja got suspended. Everybody was like, oh, it's my turn. It's my turn to ball down. You know what I mean? Now we can breathe a little bit because we don't have to have this guy be a mad bomber and try to jump from the free throw line and dunk on everybody and risk his career. You know what I mean? So, there's just certain teams in the league, they just don't get along with each other. And the teams that do get along with each other, those were the teams that were all in the Final Four. It's that simple, Jeff. Look at it. Look at the Final Four of the NBA. And maybe your Celtics might have some issues with each other as well, too. But I don't think it's more of it's not that they don't like playing with each other. It's that you got one guy who has a monster ego that keeps ruining everything for the team because he's putting too much pressure on himself and he keeps making it seem like he's the only person that can help the Celtics win big. And, he doesn't understand that you guys have already won 17 titles before you even got here. So, pretty much you're not Bird. You're not Bill Russell. You're not Bob Cousy. You're none of those guys. You need to figure out what your mark is right now because you looking like a 70s Celtic, to be honest with you, Jeff. Oh, Tatum, you looking like one of the Celtics when they was really rebuilding the team. And you looking like one of the Celtics when Rick Pitino was coaching the squad. You know what I mean? We guys got to get back to that Boston pride. And I really don't think Jason Tatum understands Boston pride. Jaylen Brown does, but he doesn't. And that's why Jaylen Brown's game is so messed up right now is because they always want him competing with Tatum. And that's not his game. His game is to go out there and help his team win basketball games. Stop asking him to be the savior because he's an all-around player. All-around players help you win basketball games. They're not trying to score 60 points every night for you. You know what I mean? So there's just a lot of things that the NBA did well this year, but the NBA still killing themselves at the same time too. You know what I mean? It's too much gambling influence in the game. I don't need Jalen Rose telling me what to bet for a game. I don't need 45 different FanDuel props running throughout the game. I don't need all that. And then you're talking about putting a team in Las Vegas. You're really trying to kill the integrity of the game, because what's the easiest game to manipulate in sports betting? Basketball. So we all know that. And we've seen obvious stuff to where people got hit by the feds for point shaving. So I think the NBA needs to kind of dial it back a little bit on the gambling tip. You know what I mean? And I think we need to squash the idea of bringing a team to Las Vegas. You already have the summer league out there. That's already that's already enough, in my opinion, because you have to worry about your players still being on, being focused, because now since the Zion Williams situation came out, now it's like, if I'm an owner, I really don't trust my guys going to Vegas no more, because this might be the reason why this guy is acting like this now, because you spend the summer out there in Vegas, Jeff, you spend the summer out in Vegas, you got millions of dollars, you got hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. It's a different story. You know what I mean? Hey, handsome, that's a lot. You know what I mean? And for some odd reason, now you are Fabio. You know what I mean? Last week you was Junkyard Dog. This week you Fabio, because they saw you on ESPN. I don't think these players are disciplined mentally enough for a Las Vegas at the end of the day. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but I lived in Vegas. You didn't. It's different. A lot of people try to talk about Vegas in the sense to where they know things, but it's like, yeah, you know about the Strip in downtown. You don't know about the rest of the city. You know what I mean? So pretty much my Lakers, there's a lot of things that the Lakers got to do this offseason. I think the Lakers need to establish themselves as a team that's chasing a championship for real. You don't go get the oldest guy on the block. Don't go get Chris Paul. There's no point of that. But I think this might be a good idea. I know it sounds crazy today, but he's kind of the guy that you needed in the playoffs this year, even though he did have his moments in Philadelphia. But James Harden coming to the Lakers would be kind of what the doctor ordered, in my opinion, because he's a guy that keeps everybody involved. He's now starting to play a little bit more point guard, and it does look good when he does it. You know what I mean? And I think if he would play for the Lakers, you wouldn't ask him to do as much as you asked him to do in Brooklyn or Philadelphia or Houston. He could finally go back to being James Harden over at Artesia High School when he had Renardo Sidney and Malik Story, and those guys were the scorers and he was the facilitator. You know what I mean? One of the best facilitators. And then he come get his points last. And I think if you put Harden in a position where you don't put pressure on him and he can just do him, and he'll be back at home, he can't embarrass himself in LA. So, I think it would work a lot better than Westbrook, because Westbrook is a rare case of somebody who's kind of, got this big chip on his shoulder about everybody not picking me when I was younger. And, that don't work no more, because he doesn't play in an underdog town like Oklahoma City anymore. He plays in big boy land in LA. That's the biggest market he ever played for, since being in the NBA. So now he has to be the best type of role player. And I think that going to the Clippers was always the better fit, because those are the right type of players for him to play with. You know what I mean? Everybody's kind of strong-willed. Everybody's a little stubborn, and they go about their team in a different way. LeBron's a dictator. Let's just keep it real. You know what I mean? And LeBron's trying to tell people how to play their position, but that's not his job. You're not the coach. You're not the GM. You're just a player. And the way that fans respond to LeBron and him having total control of teams is sickening, because at the end of the day, the Lakers never needed him to be a general manager. They never needed him to be the head coach. This team has 17 titles on their own. So LeBron's going to have to learn how to be a better teammate, in my opinion, this season. Coming up, he's going to have to let go of the team in a sense where you're not the end all be all. You have to let AD be the epicenter, like Coach Ham said. You have to let guys, like, if you're able to get a big free agent, you have to kind of let that guy do the second fiddle stuff. And people have to understand that LeBron is now a 60-game-a-year player. He's going to miss 22 games a year, because there's going to be 22 back-to-backs. You know what I mean? So he's gonna miss back-to-backs all the time. And that's what people have to understand. LeBron is a part-time player now. It sounds crazy, I know, Jeff, but I dealt with this with Shaq, where you can only play half the season if you really want to play the playoffs. He's at that point of his career. I know people don't want to believe that because he's giving them the idea that he's Superman, but he's a human being like the rest of us. You know what I mean? It's just now that the writing's on the wall that he's 39 years old. Me and him are the same age. And pretty much I'm over here cracks in my knee. And LeBron has been playing basketball for the last 30 years at a highly competitive level. I think his body is a little bit more tore up than mine, but he has millions of dollars. I don't. So, he can hide his a little bit better. You know what I mean? So I just truly do think that the Lakers need to be looking in the direction of their future right now. Don't even think about it. And you know what? The 17th pick in the draft, I know that a lot of people are like, well, we can get this guy, get that guy. Nah, man, just get rid of the pick because at the end of the day, you guys you can't develop any rookies with LeBron James on your team. It's not going to happen. You know what I mean? You have to just go ahead and stockpile it with as many vets as possible and then get you some good young guys that will be able to listen and move forward from there. But I would like this team that showed up here and had the second best record in basketball after the trade deadline, really the best record of basketball after the trade deadline. I would love to see this team get a full season together, full training camp, everything together, but that's not possible, Jeff. So I think that moving on from D'Angelo Russell is a good idea. Malik Beasley is a good idea since they had to bring up the fact that Malik Beasley, I guess, did a little something with Scottie Pippen Jr.'s mother. So, they had to bring that up. That literally killed Malik's season, dog. And that's another thing about journalism. Like, we need to start minding our own business again. Like, if you wasn't there for that situation, you don't really need to speak on that situation. You know what I mean? And it totally kind of killed his mentality moving forward. So there's just a lot of things that happen to certain Lakers that, there's no reason for them to be back on our team because they're not mentally strong enough to be here. You know what I mean? And if I would name two guys that can get off the roster, it's those two. Mo Bamba, I kind of want to keep him around because I think that he can show us some things that he wasn't able to show in Orlando. I think you got to give that guy a shot. He hurt his ankle, but he looked like he was very capable of being a good backup to AD or possibly being the starting center. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that look good. But, man, real quick, Zion Williamson. What do you think? I think that Zion possibly could be a Houston Rocket or maybe a Charlotte Hornet or beat this. Maybe, just maybe, he might be in Portland. But from what I'm hearing on the Portland deal, they're trying to send BI to Portland for that situation because they said they're in love with the Scoop Man right now in New Orleans. But you heard it here first. Brandon Miller probably is a absolute lock to the Charlotte Hornets. He only tried out for two teams, the Hornets and the Blazers. And from what I heard, the Hornets are very, very high on him as well, too. They think that he could be a good secondary player to LaMelo. And I think that does kind of wane true. You got a lot of size with him and LaMelo in that backcourt. And then you're kind of setting up what the Denver Nuggets already have. But then you have to have a guy that's going to really go all out for that team. So we'll see how it goes in that. But this is what I'm calling it now for your top three, Jeff. Top three players in the draft: Wemby to the Spurs, Miller to the Hornets, and then Scoot will go to whoever gets the third pick in the draft if Portland doesn't give it up or, if whatever happens, you know what I mean? But Scoot will be somewhere – whoever gets that third pick in the draft, because Portland's like, let's talk to Dame. And just like my man said on the show this morning, why do we have to keep talking to Dame? You gave Dame one of the stupidest contracts you could ever give a guy who's never won a championship or even came close to winning a championship. So what are we still talking to him about? You know what I mean? But I think that they're stuck with this guy like the Pacers were stuck with Reggie Miller. It's that simple. But I'm done. I know I've taken over the show, and I don't want to be just talking and talking.
No. I'm just looking here. Let's do it this way. Give us your Dodger report. I've been following them. They were on national TV last night, and White Sox of all teams comes back and beat you tonight. You are the overnight line was 140 with Grove on the mound. Right now at Circa, you're at 145. Expecting a bounce back from the Dodgers tonight, and give us the weekly Dodger report.
Well, the Dodgers have dropped their last 5 out of 8 because Reds last week, that was embarrassing because they should have swept the Reds last week. You know what I mean? 2 games in a row, you give up 6 runs. You know what I mean? Then you go to Philadelphia over the weekend. You lose a close game Friday. Then you blow them out Saturday. Then you lose. Then you get blown out on Sunday. Yesterday, start the series, they win that game 5-1. And then they come back. They were up 4-2. And then they got cute Jeff and then wind up losing the game 8-4. And it's simply, and I said on the show yesterday, I said they got the Dodgers way too favored tonight. When you give Clay a minus 280 at the stadium, sometimes that's a horrible bet because what they're doing is they're setting up the road team to get the win. You know what I mean? And I've seen this on multiple occasions, Jeff, since Kershaw became a very dominant pitcher. You know what I mean? If you ever see a team plus 220 at the stadium against Kershaw, you might as well take the team that's plus 220. Because for some odd reason, that pitcher is going to try to pitch the game of his life because Kershaw is going to go out there and figure out a way to give up 2 runs within the first 3 innings. You know what I mean? And so pretty much that happened. So the Dodgers, all in all, I think that what's happening here is the writing's on the wall now. The Dodgers need to make some superior fixes. The Dodgers been relying on great pitching for the last 5 years. They don't have that anymore. They don't have good starters. They don't have good middle relief, and they have no closer in sight. The Dodgers are a team that are literally winning because they just know how to win at this point. You know what I mean? But they're starting to put themselves in a bad position because this is when they're supposed to start rolling. You know what I mean? And the Dodgers keep having hiccups, but it's okay because they still have one of the best records in baseball. And if, we slow down just a little bit, they're going to have another series with the Arizona Diamondbacks as well, too. Another 2 series with the Arizona Diamondbacks. So we have a lot of things that are working out in the Dodgers' favor down the road, in my opinion. And I think tonight they should be able to lock this one up because last night that was a very, very tough loss because the Dodgers were up 4-2. Usually when that happens, they can go ahead and close the door on you, and they did not last night. So I think that the Dodgers are in a position now to where they know that they don't have to win every game, but they're going to have to start winning the series. You know what I mean? Because they've lost 2 series in a row. You don't want to make it 3 series in a row. And they got a little bit of an advantage. They got a little bit of a breather last night as well, too, because Arizona lost 2 in a row. You know what I mean? But still, you're trying to catch Arizona at this point, and Arizona's having a hot month, and you're not. So that's just how it's kind of going right now. But as long as the Dodgers stay within 2 games, I'm not worried about it. They're not too far out. I'm not in the same situation as the Padres right now because the Padres are looking for answers. Even though they won last night and all that good stuff, they're still looking for answers as well, too. And, the Dodgers are in a good spot still. You know what I mean? It would be bad if the Dodgers say, had only 29 wins or something on the season like that with a losing record, but they're well above 500 and they're just kind of going with the motion. And I told you off top, I didn't want to win 100 games this year, Jeff. I want to win. I want to get in there. Just give me 90 to 95 wins. So then we know that we've dealt with some situations and we know that, this is not an easy run. I think that the last 2 years, the Dodgers were so dominant during the season that they felt like the playoffs were going to be a cakewalk, which it usually is for teams that win 100 some odd games. But that was not the case. You know what I mean? So the Dodgers now, they got to get beat up a little bit to really prove to themselves how good they can actually be in the playoffs this year. I think you need a little bit, you got to put yourself through the wears and tears. That's why You saw both the Miami teams be able to make the finals this year, Florida Panthers and the Miami Heat, because they got beat up. They got drugged through the ringer. You know, they understood winning and losing and how it can be. When you're a team that's ahead of the pack, you're not turning back. You know what I mean? And by the time you turn back, when you slow down a little bit, as they say in horse racing, gathered the horse up, as when you're gathering your horse up here at the end of the year and everybody is hitting their best stride, and then you wind up being left out, it's because you didn't keep your foot on the gas. And that's it, and that's all. You know what I mean? You got to keep that whip out, Jeff. Show them the whip. You know how it goes. And, you know, some of these teams need to be shown the whip sometimes. You know, and the Dodgers just weren't shown the whip. You know, and now, you know what? They're showing the whip. And because they're not a front runner. They got to come from behind. And this is exactly what builds a champion, Jeff. Because look at Philly. Philly needed to have a horrible first half of the season. They wound up being the best team in baseball the second half of the season and wound up finding themselves in the World Series and damn near won it. So, you know, it is what it is. But Jeff knows that he wants me to be scared out of my mind about my Dodgers, but he already knows I keep the old Brooklyn mentality. You know, they gonna be bums. They bums. That's what they is.
I'm going to ask you one closing question. I got my ear to the grindstone on this one, and we're talking about Shohei Ohtani here, and you know the Angels stuck on stupid. If I was the owner or the GM of the Angels, I know what I would do. I would very simply be shopping Mike Trout. He's already got his money. He's got the contract. I know there's some buyers out there that would gladly take Mike Trout. And then I sign Shohei for $600 million and call it a day. That's what I would do. I'd build around Shohei. I'm not paying $1 billion for two guys. It's just you can't build a baseball team that way. So I don't know what the Angels will be doing. I think they're going to play the year out. They're still in contention. Maybe, you know, play the year out and then get stuck on stupid. Try to re-sign him. He's made it clear he's not staying, so you're not going to get anything. Now, the Giants offered $50 million more to Judge, and he went back to New York. I know they have a check on their desk with the name of Shohei Ohtani, and it's starting with a 6. And then I'm also hearing the Dodgers basically telling their agent, hey, you can go around to everyone. And when you get your final offer, come back to us. We'll give you an extra 10%. And Shohei will be a Dodger. Thoughts?
Well, you know, I think that Shohei Ohtani, man, special player. And I think that, if you overspend on him, be ready. Jeff, be ready. Because he plays both spots. So, you know, he had Tommy John surgery away from really everything kind of going bad. You know what I mean? But I don't want to wish that upon him or anything like that. But you have to understand what you're dealing with when you're going to give these guys these absurd dollars. You know what I mean? Injury always comes into play. And I know he hasn't been hurt or anything like that. But I just hopefully feel that he hasn't been overused by the Angels in this short period of time. He's been great. He's been awesome. But you can get overused in baseball as well, too. And I think that there's something that you do have to look at. But the Dodgers, though, they know how much success they had in the Nomo era. You know, Nomo brought a lot of money to the Dodgers, you know, in merchandise, memorabilia, and literally the Dodgers became the team of Japan once that happened. So it's like a marriage that is inevitable because that's more about Shohei's decision. Because the Dodgers would have did it the first time, but the Angels beat them to the punch. The Angels came with the Dodgers had a stacked up team at the time, and they couldn't overspend on a potential. You know what I mean? So now they see that the potential is good and that he's a great player. And now you can go ahead and spend those astronomical dollars on him that you should have spent on him in the first place. Because I think if you go get Shohei in the bid shake earlier over the Angels, then you probably get 2 or 3 rings at this time. You know what I mean? Because you got a versatile player who can pitch and hit. And I think that the Dodgers really do need to look at this situation and tell themselves that, okay, if we pay him, we know what the risks are. If we pay him this astronomical amount of money, the Giants are just searching for a star. The Dodgers got 3 of them. You know what I mean? The Dodgers, it's not about searching for a star for the Dodgers. This is a money, there will be a money move because they're offering them damn near a piece of the team when they offering them this much money. You know what I mean? So I truly do feel like going to the Dodgers would be his dream. Think about that, because Hideo Nomo is his favorite player of all time. And he knows that they have a better understanding of the Japanese player as well, too. They truly do. Like every Japanese player the Dodgers have ever had loved their time with the Dodgers. Like literally they learned English with the Dodgers. They learned how to get in and out with the Dodgers, all that good stuff. You know what I mean? And they become really, really, it becomes fun for them. They ain't ready to run back home like your boy Jokic. That's a little embarrassing too, Jeff. I said I like Jokic a lot too, but you don't have to keep dissing us about your little country out there, bro, about when to get out there to go watch some horses drag men and steeple, or you can watch that over at the Meadowlands in Jersey, bro. Come on, man. Seriously, you know what I mean? So, but hey, horse owners and trainers, Jokic was pretty much open to you guys recruiting him. I could see Jokic with a barn. I could definitely see Jokic with a barn. But all in all, though, Jeff, yeah. And you know what? Your point about real quick about the Angels, they're playing their best baseball of the season right now. I would say that. And I think that the Rangers got to be on the lookout because the Rangers think that they already have it figured out. Once they lost DeGrom, it was the countdown of when are they going to get caught by Houston, in my opinion. They're good. They're good, Jeff. They're going to, what happens with the Rangers.
I can tell you this. What's up, Shady? Shady, Duncan minus 150, he says. The Angels 4 times, not 3, not 2, not 1, but 4 times, I'd say, in the last month, we've had team totals. We've had actually 1 full game. But the 3 team totals where we were stuck on the lid after 3. We were just getting hooked. We needed 1 more run. And their back end, which never gets any respect, is been pitching off the charts. It's just been the Bridges, the back end, which has always been their downfall. We had team total 5.5 on the Rangers the other day, and they had 5 runs in the third. Second and third didn't score. It took extra innings to the 12th on an error for us to get the 6th run. We had 14 left on base, but my point is their pitching which has always been a problem, is doing a lot better. And you are 1,000% correct, Pops. They are playing their best baseball, which leaves them hand-tied. Hey, we'll keep the team alive. The Red Sox last year, nothing for Bogarts, nothing for J.D. Martinez, nothing for Evaldi, nothing for Michael Walker. And so, they were forced to trade Mookie, forced to pay Devers. So my point is, you get stuck, and you got to hear it from the fan base the rest of your life. They got stuck with the long term of the Pujols contract. They got stuck with Cole leaving them at the altar. They had the lefty there, Josh Hamilton. There's been so much that they been stuck on. It's just amazing. But you got a generational player. You got Babe Ruth of 2023. But as you said, he is a Tommy John surgery away. He's 28 years old. So he's going to get that 12, 13-year-old contract, 12 or 13-year contract, till he's 40, 41. Because the money that you're going to make in the marketing side is going to pay for itself. I mean, he's going to be Godzilla of LA, Godzilla of San Fran, Godzilla of Seattle. Those are the 3. In New York, you can hold your breath and pray you're not getting them. In my eyes, I could be totally wrong on that. There, Shady, what's he say? Nunez plus 1.5 round. Baralt Amav went 2-0 and a push. Yes, yes. Thank you so much. By the way, Duncan minus 150, Bondar 100, and Kenny Air at 120. Spot on the UFC. Don't be afraid to jump on with us, Shady, on the UFC as well. There, we love some UFC. Hats off to some are saying the greatest of all time. I don't think she'll ever get it, but Miss Lioness wins the belt, or now has 2 belts, and is officially retiring. Uh, I didn't like her early. I did like her late. I think what really opened up my eyes was her clothes. When she got Ronda hurt, you could just see it. It was like Tyson. And then when she got Cyborg hurt, it was like Tyson. So again, Holly Holm, big fan late in her career, and hats off, congrats to Amanda Nunez in a great, great career. Pops, closing thoughts.
You know what? Closing thoughts. Today, I would say this, guys. I'm playing Belmont today, and let me give you guys the race 9. It's gonna be a cute one as well, too. It's gonna be a horse by the name of Maggie. 12 horse. End of the day. Okay, because this is a race where you got nobody who's ever won, and I just feel like the horse might have a good shot today because the horse only lost by a head last time out. So that's something that you guys can possibly run with. But if you do follow me on the Twitter, I'm already putting out plays as we speak now. We got a race going on in the next 3 minutes. So you guys can follow me at Pop Dibiase as well to follow all my bets and everything like that. Showtime in about the next hour or so as well, too. You guys can check on in with me. We'll be talking NFL today, talking a little bit of NBA as well, and then we're talking bets in the MLB. But all in all, though, I want to say thank you again, Jeff, for bringing me into the show today. And I think that we'll talk about it soon, but I think that we might be bringing in NFL Bet Exchange a little bit earlier this year so we can preview divisions and things like that before we get into the actual just of things and things, if Jeff has time for me to do that. But pretty much I was thinking about that as well too. I'm just kind of really excited about the NFL right now because I'm ready to defend my fantasy title from last year. So, once you win a championship, you want to win another one. You know what I mean? Like it gets very addictive. So, I think that there's just a lot of great things going on, Jeff. As usual, I thank you very much for letting me use your platform to talk my ish real quick. And there's big things on the way, y'all. That's all I can say. And you guys just keep following the movement. You keep telling your friends all that stuff. And you know what? The real will always reign true. You know what I mean? And that's what I feel like. And I think that we're on to some really good things right now. But you guys make sure that you bet with your head and not with your heart, and make sure that you listen to Jeff because Jeff is banging out some nice little winners and things like that as usual. You know what I mean? Me with my old bag of picks that I throw out there to you guys, all that damn charity I give you guys that you guys don't have no appreciation for, but it is what it is at the end of the day. I say y'all throw. It is funny. Y'all throw parades for people that will give you a 1-2. I hand you a 15-1, and you're looking at me. Oh, just thanks.
The scroll has been going the whole time on Twitter. Go follow him, Pops at Pop Dibiase at Prime Wave Media. Hashtag the Primetime Tapper. Make sure you go catch all the shows. Pops, where they can catch your shows on IG?
They can catch my show on Twitter and catch it on YouTube because I would much rather y'all watch it on YouTube so we can get them views up. Instagram is almost like just me showing people that I'm still alive. So that's not really that serious to me because it might not be up there every day, but you can definitely catch all the replays and everything on my YouTube. You can also watch it on Twitter as well, too. And if you do follow me on Facebook, you can watch it on Facebook as well. But it is right there every single day on my YouTube right there, Prime Wave Media. And if you guys got any inquiries about being a client, you guys can hit me up and become a part of the PTSI Winner Circle, all that good stuff. And then also, also, just real quick, if there's some sponsors out there and everything like that, I work with ESOC Crews as well too. So if you guys are looking to have your logos or anything on, say, a big night, we do have ESOC for the co-main event for Bud Crawford and Spence. So you guys, let me know if you guys will be interested in something like that, exposing your business a little bit more. I usually don't do this on, shows and stuff like that, but I just want to go ahead and present that idea to some people who might be some big business folks out there that are looking to expand their business a little bit more on a very big sports night. So there that goes. But hopefully I can get ESOC to get on the show with us during fight week at some point. So that would be fun, even though we need a translator. So, it's all good. But all in all, though, that's it, Jeff. I know I went a little bit over, but that's it, brother.
From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from the one, the only, Mr. Pop Dibiase at Pop Dibiase at Prime Wave Media. We wish everyone a blessed day. ECSI VIPs, we got a game going at about 3:37. We got a nightcap. We're diving back into some props, some hits, runs, and RBIs, and a couple stolen bases as well. Hit a nice stolen base yesterday afternoon, plus 240. I think it was on Acuna, and 2-0 on the hit, runs, and RBIs last night. 2-0 on the day on our one unit plays. Plus for the week, we're looking for number 20 in the last 29 weeks, 19 winning weeks or envelope monies, 5 losing weeks, 5 pushes. So this is week number 30. So best of luck. The new email and format's out. We're going to work on some font a little here and there. Again, progress, not perfection. We're keeping those feet moving forward. As Pop says, we're on to some big stuff here. So thanks, everyone, for your patience. Go Team Puma, and we will see you soon. Toodles.